All right. I'd like to introduce our partner spotlight on the Peconic Land Trust with Jessie McSwane and Josh Halsey. Jessie McSwane is the Director of Stewardship for the Peconic Land Trust. Jessie lives in Riverhead with her family. Her favorite activities include gardening, swimming in the Long Island Sound, and picnics with friends. Jessie earned her master's in geography from Marshall University in 2023 and a certificate in geospatial information science from Marshall University in 2022, as well as LEED New York Fellows Program Certificate from the Empire State Food and Agriculture Leadership Institute, Cornell CALS 2019. Jessie earned a BA in Politics, Philosophy, and Economics from King's College in 2006. She has 10 years professional experience with the Peconic Land Trust, including habitat restoration, land use management, grant writing, and agricultural programs. Josh Halsey is the Senior Environmental Programs Manager for the Peconic Land Trust. He's compassionate about soil health and water quality initiatives and spends too much time protecting plants from the deer. Josh earned a BA in Environmental Studies and Biology at the University of California at Santa Cruz in 2008 and an MS in Agricultural Microbiology from the College of Agriculture, University of Sao Paulo in 2012. Josh has 8 years of professional experience with the Peconic Land Trust. Please welcome Jessie and Josh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me move that menu out of your way. Okay, I think, yeah, you should get it from there.
Advance with space.
Yeah, we've been doing arrow. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Jessie. This is Josh. We're glad to be here today, and we're just going to do a quick little overview of what Peconic Land Trust is, and then kind of highlight some of the work that we've done with LIISMA. Maybe.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. At Peconic Land Trust, we conserve land and water resources throughout Long Island. This involves collaboration with landowners and local municipalities in order to find creative solutions to ever-changing processes and constant development pressure. Together with our partners, we've successfully protected over 14,000 acres. This includes farmland, forest, wetlands, and other threatened natural lands.
And so what we do to protect those properties, we have a few different departments that focus on specific areas. So we have the planning and acquisition, which is like the conservation planning, working with municipalities and landowners to protect properties. Then we have stewardship, which follows after a deal is closed, and then we work on the management of the property. And then we have education and public policy as well. We want to educate our community as much as we can, as well as educate the people who we vote in office.
Here you can see a lot of our projects highlighted in dark green. Those are our preserves all throughout Long Island. Given that we manage thousands of acres of protected land, our role as steward is constant. Not only must we understand the background of the various projects, including previous and current land use, but also ensure that the original conservation values are maintained. This ranges from conducting routine site visits to check preserves and easements, looking at the boundaries, getting to know the neighbors, and even responding to possible violations or encroachments on the land. We've realized that in stewardship, it's always best to be proactive. We find ourselves responding to different things all the time, but especially when it comes to issues related to natural disasters or climate shifts, we want to get ahead of them. We'll look at a preserve and we'll ask, what could be better here? Can we put in a trail or improve upon one that's already there? Maybe there's a patch of invasive plants here or there that can be removed. That way we have more resilient habitats. Do we want to have a native planting in a specific area, control the erosion, benefit the soil health, or even maximize water infiltration?
One of our main jobs in the stewardship department, which we are both part of, is monitoring. And so like Josh said, we monitor parcel boundaries over thousands of acres across Long Island, some of which we own, some of which we own the conservation easement, but the property is still owned by a private landowner. And so what we've been able to do with LIISMA is actually really informs our monitoring and our management plans. So over the recent years, we have done at least 4 site visits, Nissaquag, Sugarloaf in Southampton, Broad Cove and Riverhead, and Wolf and Reese Preserves in Southold. And we've also, so that those site visits include hands-on training, like this is how you identify this plant. This is, you know, really we need to keep an eye on this. This one needs to be contained and that sort of thing. And then we also have had classroom style training, both in person and online, going through identification of invasive species. And we also, they have provided plans for us, recommendations for managing invasives on particular sites, and those help inform our management plans, which go with the property forever, and also impact our yearly management goals.
So we've chosen a couple case studies here just to really show how we've partnered with LIISMA and how that's improved our management plans here. Here we have Sugarloaf Preserve. It's located in the Shinnecock Hills in Southampton. This is an assemblage of parcels, and it's actually a known sacred site to the Shinnecock people. We work very closely with the newly founded Peconic Land Trust, which is an Indigenous-led nonprofit that's in the process of protecting and stewarding grave sites throughout their ancestral territory in the hills. As a number of properties in the area have been disturbed by residential development, this process is very complex and involves selectively and responsively demolishing structures on site with minimal disturbance to then proceed with natural plant restoration efforts. These images were taken from the management plan that LIISMA provided from a site visit last fall. We met with members of the LIISMA team and the Peconic Land Trust at Sugarloaf, and we walked through the whole assemblage to assess the species diversity there. And we found a number of non-natives, and invasives, but also a lot of natives in key spots. 2 zones here you can see highlighted in the white. They're high priority management targets. One at the summit where a native plant meadow seeded of forbs and grasses flourishes on the footprint of a recently demolished residence. And the other on the right-hand side is a successional field that was previously maritime grassland and shrubland. While on the site visit, the LIISMA team informed us of this opportunity here for early detection and rapid response. Plume poppy, which you can see the top left corner there, that's when it was in bloom. And a more recent photo from this season is below that. And it's relatively new to the LIISMA region, so that was an interesting find. We'll be following LIISMA's recommendations for the species and others encountered last October. This is definitely one of the ones that we're keeping an eye on as we improve our management and restoration on site. And here's a view from on top of Sugarloaf Hill. You can see the tree line in the background. And that is the meadow that has been recently reseeded.
Then if we move to Riverhead in 2021, Peconic Land Trust was fortunate enough to be able to purchase, with the help of generous donors, to purchase a 100-acre former duck farm right on the headwaters of the Peconic Bay. This is across the creek from Indian Island County Park, if you're familiar with that area in Aquabog. This also had a bunch of structures that the seller actually knocked down before closing. And so we were left with this, I mean, absolutely incredible property, but that has had a lot of disturbance. And so we are working through and selecting areas with LIISMA's recommendations of target areas that we want to manage, enhance, and just really bring the habitat quality up a level. So you can see here, I really like at the beginning of the management plan that LIISMA provided for us, it has these 2 bullet points that the priorities are conserving and restoring species and communities of highest ecological importance and managing high impact invasive species. And so on this picture here, we actually have in red an area of a high priority invasive Canada thistle, and then right next to a quality area to protect that actually has little blue stem, big blue stem, and a few other high quality native grasses there. And sorry. So I just want to give you a little bit of a glance of what we're looking at. So the first picture on your left is right behind that fence and viney tree line is a meadow that was just full of invasives. We have been able to do some work to remove some invasives and then plant a native meadow there. And that view, if you stand there now, looks nothing like that. The vines have been cut to protect the higher quality trees, and it's great. And then same with on the other side, this is actually after one step of invasive management. Of course, more is coming up, and so we have continuous plans to keep up with that. On the left, this is a little island peninsula in the middle of the preserve, and you can't see it in this photo, but at the very end, there is a single bunch of miscanthus. And so that is one of our high priority, just to manage that before it becomes, before it fills that entire area. And then on the right, this is actually something that I really appreciated working with LIISMA, because the management plan mentioned mile a minute in 1 or 2 areas, but by the time we had a plan set in motion, it really extended quite a bit further than the initial areas. And so we reached out to Abby and said, what do you think about this? And so in the moment, we were able to kind of come up with a plan to make sure that this mile a minute, which is close to the area that was targeted for protection, doesn't go any further than that. And so you can kind of see on the right, there's a mix of Phragmites, and this is not near water, but there's Phragmites, mile a minute, also some knotweed and honeysuckle and multiflora rose. So we have a jungle to work through. And yeah, it's been a really great experience working with LIISMA and really being able to target some areas for us that are bite size that we can manage, because like Josh said, we do manage thousands of acres, and our stewardship staff is at about maybe 7 full-time at this point. And so we have to be really strategic with how we select our places to work each year, and LIISMA has helped us identify those. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us at those email addresses. And thank you very much for your time, and thank you for inviting us.
Yeah.